the Lord's Prayer hasn't saved the world. As a matter of fact, that's why most ministers disrespect the Lord's Prayer. They just rush through, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Done. Because they have no respect. They don't expect anything of it. They don't expect you to hear it even. They've gone through the mumbo-jumbo of reciting it. They know it isn't going to have any power. It won't have either. But the Lord's Prayer can absolutely produce miracles, and I'll tell you one of them. Man came into my office in Boston. I'm not boring you with these examples and things, because they're out of an experience. And this man was a builder of Christian Science churches and millionaires' estates. And in the Depression, he went broke. And he probably waited for that around the corner too long, because it didn't come. And he went completely broke. And his wife went out doing Christian Science nursing. And he went out doing male nursing. That's how far broke he let himself get in that depression. And then one day, he came to me for help. And the story he told was this: that a man owed him a large sum of money. And if he could collect that, it was big enough so that he could live out the depression without fear. Could I help him collect that money? And God spoke very quickly, no. No, I couldn't, and if I could, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Because maybe that man is in a worse position than you are, and in taking it from him, even if he's got it, you might be depriving not only him or his wife, but children or grandchildren. No, I'm not interested in collecting your money, but I can give you spiritual help. How? Well, I don't know. Let's see. We sat there a few moments in meditation, and the answer came to me out of the Lord's Prayer. Forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. Aha! There's your answer. Forgive this man the debt, and you'll be forgiven your lack. That's the only thing I've got left. No, I said, you're in the position of a lot of us. God is the only thing you've got left. Everything else has flown. So let's see what God can do. I said, actually, God can't do anything. God's doing all it can do, but you and I can do something, and that is to come into harmony with the law. And here we've been given the law in what's called the Lord's Prayer. Matter of fact, you can interpret that as the law's prayer, the prayer of law. And what is the law? Forgive me as I forgive others. And before we got through, he agreed to try it. He said, I forgive the man. I'm not going to say anything to him. If he wants to pay it, he can. But as far as I'm concerned, that's dead. Now, if I'm to live, I will have to live through the grace of God, because I have no more reliance on anything in the human world. And that night he was called to help design a building, and his check was enough for him to live on for 2 weeks and pay up a few back debts. Before the 2 weeks was up, he was called right here to New York City, to Long Island. And they said, are you the man who designed this Christian Science church in 1919? It's never been built. Yes, I'm that man. We're ready to build it. Begin. And he started building, and he built the church. At the same time, he was called over here to New Jersey and started on a government project. In 2 years, he was a partner in a building and construction company. Oh, he had the equipment. He was a capable man. But the point is that the miracle took place not through anything that was in a book, not through reading the Lord's Prayer, but through acting on it. See that? An act of consciousness. Now, if you were reciting the Lord's Prayer, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, you never would come actually to a law. You'd never come to finding what the law is. You'd be depending on the reciting of a group of words, and there's no power in that. But there is power in the Lord's Prayer. There is power in every sentence of it, if you take every sentence apart and live it. And so I've learned since then, many, many times, that many people have had beautiful experiences through actually finding someone or some experience to forgive, sometimes themselves, and then letting themselves be forgiven. Now don't you see how much of a miracle it is to know that we have no right to depend on crutches even when they're good words or prayers, but on the very God itself forcing us into action. And here, of course, is one of the deepest. It is impossible to realize God as long as one has in mind a purpose or object other than realizing God. Never forget this, that when we go to God, it has to be for God. If you're going to God to accomplish something out here, you're missing the whole power of contacting God. You cannot have a purpose. You cannot have a reason for going to God. You have to go to God pure, absolutely pure, seeking nothing, wanting nothing, desiring nothing, hoping for nothing except the beauty of communion. That is our only object. Then, you see, we'll rise above being practitioners and teachers. We will be just people who live in God. Whoever gets blessed by it will be blessed incidentally to the fact that we have stopped wanting to heal and help, that we've come to a place in consciousness where our whole life is just for the purpose of living in God. And that is the object of this life. That is the object of this life, not to go out and save it. You can't save this world. It's been ruining itself from the beginning of time, and it will continue to until this world has been overcome. But it'll only be overcome by those who live in God, who bring God as a reality to this world and thereby dissolve it. Now I think what we ought to do is have a meditation. Let's see what happens.